what does the G stand for? Well, there are 3 different interpretations, okay? It stands for geometry, of course, because of the square and the compass. It stands for God, or Gnosticism, or Grand Architect, okay? So what the Freemasons believe is that there is a God, but he created this world for us to perfect by ourselves, then God left us. So he's the architect, but that means that we have a responsibility to renovate and perfect the world that we live in, okay? But there's also people who believe that the G stands for the generative principle, okay? So there's male and there's female. The female is a productive principle, the thing that gives birth. The male is a generative principle, the thing that energizes the female. Okay? So what's interesting is that if you put all this together, you put generative principle, generate, plus geometry, what you get is God. Okay? And what does generative and geometry equal? It equals AI, artificial intelligence. So at the very beginning of Freemasonry, there was an impetus, a desire among them to prove that they could be God by creating life itself. All right? In the beginning, they called this golems. But now, if you think about it, that's why they want to create AI. To prove that they can be God themselves. Once you create AI, then you perfect the world. Okay? So that is Freemasonry. And you can see how it gives rise now to artificial intelligence. I'm not saying that they planned for artificial intelligence. What I'm saying is that the people in charge now of artificial intelligence, including people like Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, Larry Ellison, Elon Musk, they can now go back to this tradition and basically appropriate this tradition in order to justify their AI surveillance state. All right? Okay, so now let's move on. This is Zbigniew Brzezinski. And he was National Security Advisor to Jimmy Carter, okay? Who was President of the United States. And he's a founder of something called the Trilateral Commission, which basically tries to implement American grand strategy in the world. And this was funded by David Rockefeller, who obviously was one of the wealthiest, most powerful Americans to ever live. So this is a very powerful individual. And we're going to read certain writings from his book, Between Two Ages. And when we read it, you'll see how similar it is to Albert Pike. Now, I don't think that Zbigniew Brzezinski read Albert Pike. And he himself is probably not a Freemason. But again, you don't have to read Albert Pike. You don't have to be a Freemason to think like them. These are all people obsessed with power, control, and order. And they're going to look for elements of different religions in order to justify their pursuit of power, order, and control, okay? So this is from the book Between Two Ages. Can you read, Alan?
The emergence of a large dominant party alongside the more narrowly focused and more intensively doctrinal groupings on the right and the left could accelerate the trend towards such technological managerialism. Such a large dominant party would combine American society's quest for stability with its historical affinity for innovation.